Alright, so we're going to take a look at adding and subtracting decimals. We'll begin with adding decimals, and we'll look at 3 and 72 hundredths plus 4 and 5 tenths. Now, if you had no prior knowledge to adding decimals, you would think that we could kind of lean on our mathematical understanding of adding whole numbers to where we can simply set our number up, and we'll set the standard algorithm up, and we kind of take and push all of our numbers to the right. When we look at this, we begin on the far right, and we're kind of setting ourselves up here to add 2 100ths plus 5 tenths. Now that becomes a little bit of a problem because, as you should know from our study of fractions, is that I can't just straight up add 2 100ths plus 5 tenths without finding common denominators. So we've got a little bit of a process issue. So there's definitely another element to setting these problems up that we need to really dive into. So let's take a little bit of a restart and get rid of this. And we need to look at it because setting these decimal problems up is really important that we line them up by place value so that we're really comparing or adding or subtracting, depending on the operation, apples to apples and not apples to oranges. So let me take a look here, and we will set up 3 and 72 hundredths in this time. So I've got my hundredths and my tenths. I got the decimal and then my ones place. I need to set the second number in my expression up here up the same way. So my 4 ones and my 5 tenths. And now I'm ready to go. Now if you'll notice that we've got two places behind the decimal on my first number, and on the second number just one place. Now I can even that out without changing the value to the number by simply adding a 0. From a value perspective, I didn't change it, but I've evened out the number. Now I'm ready to go, and I could take 2 plus 0 on the far right just like normal. 2, then 7 plus 5 would be 12. I'm going to regroup 10 of those 12, leaving my 2 there, and then bring the 1 up, and then we have 8. So 3 and 72 hundredths plus 4 and 5 tenths would equal 8 and 22 hundredths. But how does that make sense? What really just took place? So let's take just another look at it where we're going to step over here, and we are going to expand these numbers out so that we can really see the engagement from place value to place value. So 3 and 72 hundredths is 3 ones plus 7 tenths plus 2 over 100ths. Now my second number, I have 4 plus 5 tenths, and then technically we have no 100ths there. Now if I were to take and add these numbers up and just really focusing where I can take a second and just look at this place value, and I could say, well, 2 and 100ths plus 0 100ths would be 2 over 100. Now we come over here and let's simply look at the tenths over here. So we're just going to focus on here. How many total tenths do we have? We actually have 12 tenths. Now, I know that I can come down here and I can't put 12 in a place value. It can only be one digit, and I have a 2-digit number. So I need to take away a whole number, and I can regroup it to the left. So if I have 12 tenths, I'm going to take away 10 tenths because 10 tenths is equal to 1. I have 2 tenths left, and I'm going to add 1 to my whole number up here. So I got a little changing I could do here. We're going to take, and this is now 2 tenths. I added my 1 up here. Now we're going to take a look at the ones place. So we've got our ones here, and we have 8 as my ones. So now let's take a look at where we stand here. So we have 8, 2 tenths, and 2 100ths. And if you look at these numbers, we see a similar number. Now, let me be very mindful for you, is that the goal, of where we're trying to get is the standard algorithm. I would like to see us getting to a point where we're setting up just like over here. This is called the standard algorithm. You hear me say this a lot. This is the standard. It's the way. It's how I would like you to do it. However, in doing it, I need to make sure that we understand that when I'm adding, for example, over here on the far right, when I'm adding 2 plus 0, I'm not just adding 2 plus 0, I'm adding 200 plus no hundreds. When I'm adding 7 and 5, I'm adding 7 tenths plus 5 tenths. That's why we step aside and we can expand the numbers to show our understanding of what's happened. But please be mindful. The goal is to get us comfortably and fluently doing the standard algorithm with adding decimals to the hundredth place.